There's also some other techniques that you can do to form certain things like lines. You can form those to the face just a little bit more. I can click on that texture layer. So what I'll do is draw a selection around this scar here on this texture. And then let's come up here to select. And what we're going to want to do is feather this selection so it's nice and smooth. So when we distort this scar, it's going to be nice and smooth around the edges. Now I'm using Photoshop CS3. If you're using an earlier version, you'll find the feather option right underneath this menu here. But in Photoshop CS3, it's now in Modify, and then you'll find a little menu will pop out, and then you'll find the feather option right here. I'm going to go ahead and feather this by 20 pixels, so just enter in 20 there and press the OK button. Next, let's come over here to Filter, and down here to Distort, and select Shear right here. And this will allow us to shear and to push this or to curve this scar just a little bit so it looks like it's going with the shape of her face, sort of almost like a cheekbone or something like that. So I can make a little point in the middle here and just pull this out just a touch and maybe move this up just a little bit, something like that. Let's go ahead and see how that looks. I'll click OK, and there you go. You can see that sort of pops out there on her cheek, and I'll just come over here to select and deselect that selection. So you can do something like that, make that texture, make it look like it really fits on her face. So those are just some other little creative things that I did to this image to make it look a little bit more realistic. I'm going to go ahead and just click on this paintbrush and paint on this mask. I don't want that scar going through her eye, so I'll just go ahead and do something like that. Okay, great. And last, what I did is I applied a texture to all the pieces that are breaking apart here. So let's go into the Adobe Bridge, and I'll just double click on this texture right here, which looks like some old mud, cracked dirt or salt ground or something like that. I thought it looked pretty cool, so I picked this out. I want to go ahead and double click on this. Let's bring it into Photoshop, and I'll come up here to select all, over here to edit and copy. And then I'll scroll down here, I'll click just above this texture that we applied on this image adjustment, and I'll come over here to edit, paste, and that'll place it just above the image adjustment on our peeling paint texture layer here. What we're going to do is blend this texture over the image in the back. So let's come over to this layer's blending mode menu here, and let's select overlay. Now what we're going to do is mask this just like we did before. You can see that this texture is over the face of the woman here, and so that's not looking too hot. That's not really the type of look that I was looking for. It's sort of taking away the beauty of the face, and so what we're going to do is create a layer mask. So I'll come down to the bottom of the layers palette and click on Add Layer Mask right here, and I'll select a paintbrush with black as the foreground. So we will be painting black on this mask. I'll make this just a little bit larger here, and I'll just start to paint on this mask where I don't want this texture to be at. And you can see that texture blend really nicely over those pieces that we pulled apart from the face. And I'll go ahead and turn on my larger pieces here, and you can see that those are being blended nicely. And I did create an image adjustment for this as well. And there you go. So we can see we're moving along right now, and it's starting to look like the final image.